How's it going, everyone? I am here once again to highlight some super cheap game deals as a part of the spring sale running on the PlayStation Store. We're looking at games under the price of $5, and damn it, if it's the last thing I do, I am going to eviscerate the $90 gaming world. I'm gonna eviscerate the $80 gaming world. We're gonna look at some super cheap games. As long as I remain on God's green earth, I will make sure none of you spend $80 on a video game. But no, seriously, there's a lot of great games as a part of the spring sale. And remember, I mean, the gaming price point debate is going on all over the interwebs right now. And just realize nobody's forcing you to pay those prices. I know you guys haven't played every game on this list. Maybe you have every game on this list in your library because your backlog's absolutely disgusting, but I assure you, you haven't played all of these games on this list. With that being said, let's get right into it and let's get started with Rayman Legends, 75% off for $4.99. You know what? Nah, I was about to start going on a diatribe about how Rayman Legends is such a better game than all of the Marios, but we don't need to go wild with it. Rayman Legends is a great platformer, though. I really had a fantastic time with it. I played Rayman Origins back when it came out. I don't even know what possessed me to check out Rayman Origins initially, but was blown away by that game. And then Rayman Legends was the follow-up, an incredibly well-designed platformer, and Rayman's an IP that I feel like Ubisoft can do so much more with. In terms of doing these traditional platformers, I think, you know, it was a worthwhile experience. And pre-Astrobot coming out, the platformers, it was just one area where PlayStation was just severely lacking. I get it that you have games coming out like Klonoa, Ratchet, of course, but as far as those really enjoyable, accessible platformers, I feel like there weren't a ton. Pre-Astrobot, that is, pre-Astrobot. But Rayman Legends, for $4.99, I think that's a great price and definitely would recommend it. Need for Speed Heat is 92% off for $4.79. Not the cheapest it's been, but still a damn good arcade racer for the price point. Decent soundtrack, stylish as all hell visuals, and love the aesthetics to the game. For $4.79, I think it's a great pickup. Again, it has been cheaper, but I do think this is a great price for what you're getting here, so definitely do give that a recommendation at $4.79. Next up, we have Mad Max, 75% off for $4.99, a game that I've gotten to bat for all the time, and I can't believe that I mean, I can believe it since, spoiler alert, people, we're getting old, but this game's gonna be a decade old this year. This game and Metal Gear Solid 5, a decade old. I say those two games because they came out on the same day, and I just feel like that absolutely cooked Mad Max as far as, you know, the attention it was gonna get right at release. But man, this turned out to be a really solid open-world action title. Really enjoyed it, and some of the best performance that I saw on, like, the PlayStation 4 in terms of, like, just how smooth the game was, Mad Max was pretty impressive in that regard. I mean, it does take place in this barren wasteland desert. It's Mad Max after all, but a worthwhile game for sure. And the narrative does pick up by the end. Unfortunately, it is a game that we'll never see a sequel, so that's a bummer, but what can you do? $4.99 on that's a great deal. Burnout Paradise Remastered, 75% off for $4.99. Now, I give the arcade racers like the Need for Speed Heats, the Burnout Paradise Remastered, a shout at these price points. However, if you are just looking for an arcade racer on PlayStation, let's be real, Forza Horizon 5 is going to be the best one, bar none, that's going to be available, but you know, some people don't want to spend $60. Some people don't want to spend that $100 for the premium edition, and I totally get that. Burnout Paradise, on the other hand, yeah, it shows its age a little bit. It came out back in 2008, 17 years old at this point, but for $4.99, you're still getting a solid arcade racer and a good bit of content, and an awesome soundtrack. There's so many classics in this game. You've got My Curse by Killswitch Engage. There's a song by Collapse by Saosin. That's a great song. You had the band that did the theme for Dragon's Dogma do a theme in this game. Just casually, that's just in there as well. It's called Friction, and it's a great song. There's a lot of great tracks in this game, and of course, you can edit the jukebox however you want, so you can just repeat the songs you like. But nevertheless, $4.99 for Burnout Paradise Remastered. Great pickup there for sure. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, the Deluxe Edition, is 90% off for $4.99. Love Jedi Fallen Order. Obviously, I'm a broken record with my one criticism of this game, but that is the map layout. Like, the actual map overlay is a sheer atrocity, and multiple people complained about it. They remedied it in Jedi Survivor. It's much better there, but Jedi Fallen Order is like the biggest steaming pile of crap map design I think I've ever seen in a video game, and that's probably not true. I mean, I've played some really bad games and some dated games at this point, but Jedi Fallen Order, that just really stood out to me in 2019. But $4.99 for this game for the excellent combat, the great story. I really like Cal as a character, but to be fair, I'm not like a huge Star Wars guy or anything like that, but I love Cal as a character, and I think, you know, Game 3 is going to be bittersweet to see a story come to an end, but it's going to be a phenomenal outing whenever that does come out. But play Jedi Fallen Order, then jump into Survivor. They're both phenomenal games. We got Overcooked, $3.39 on this. A solid pick of a chaotic couch co-op cooking game for 1 to 4 players working as a team. You and your fellow chefs must prepare, cook, and serve up a variety of tasty orders before the baying customers storm out in a huff. Sharpen your knives and dust off your chef's whites. There isn't much room for error, and the stakes are high in these crazy kitchens. There were a lot of puns in that description if you actually read the description, but Overcooked, a co-op classic at this point. $3.39 on that is pretty good. Resident Evil Revelations is $4.99. This is a Resident Evil game that I often go to bat for because this is the forgotten Resident Evil game. It came out as a Nintendo 3DS exclusive back in the day, and really, it was one of the selling games on the 3DS and showcasing what that console could do, or handheld could do from a power standpoint. It was a pretty impressive game on the 3DS. Obviously, when you're talking about it getting ported to other platforms, yeah, it was enhanced visually to an extent, but it's not blow away by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a really worthwhile game to go through, and I feel like as far as tension goes, gameplay, Revelations is a really solid outing. It's just, it came out when Resident Evil was in a little bit of a lull. Like Biohazard, Resident Evil 7, I feel like shifted in the narrative across the board for Resident Evil and really rejuvenated the franchise. Revelations came out in that interim period between Resident Evil 6 and until Biohazard came out, where it was forgotten by a lot of people, but for $4.99, I think it's a great pickup. Definitely would give that a shout. Next up, Valkyria Chronicles Remastered, 75% off for $4.99, another JRPG that I highly, highly recommend. And you know what? For those of you that absolutely hate your weeb games and you don't want anime games, yeah, it's got an anime aesthetic, but this game, I think a lot of people that aren't even super into JRPGs will end up enjoying it. It has a gameplay style different than most JRPGs, a tactics game, and the story is great. It's not cringe or anything like that. There might be a couple cringe moments, but it's just a good war story, and the characters are fairly likable. I wouldn't say blow away, but they're fairly likable, and I think ultimately most people are going to end up enjoying the game. For $4.99, it's a great pickup. They adapted it into an anime, but honestly, I thought the anime was kind of cooked. Just play the game. It's great. Good bit of content here as well for $4.99. Great pickup there. American Fugitive is 80% off for $3.99. This is a throwback to the older GTA games. Like, we're talking GTA pre-GTA 3. Modern take on classic sandbox action, offering a new top-down open-world single-player experience. Set in Red Rock County, a sleepy American town with a booming criminal underbelly. You take on the role of Will Riley, no angel for sure, but not a killer. Yet the cold-blooded murderer of your dad is the crime they locked you up for. Fueled by grief and a burning desire for vengeance, you'll bust out of jail, intent on finding the real culprit. $3.99 for American Fugitive. Next up, we got Huntdown, 80% off for $3.99. Mayhem-filled streets of the future where criminal gangs rule and cops fear to tread. Only the bounty hunters can free the city from the corrupt fist of felony. Lay waste to the criminal underworld and make a killing in this hard-boiled action comedy arcade shooter. Hunt solo or give suppressive fire and advance on the enemy together in co-op as you run, jump, and take cover in the neon sun and the graffiti-drenched 80s-inspired cityscapes. Hand-painted 16-bit pixel art graphics and hand-drawn animations as well. $3.99 for Huntdown. Next up, we have Greak Memories of Azur, 80% off for $3.99. Super, super simple game in terms of its gameplay. You do have these different characters with somewhat different mechanics attached to them. I love the art style in the game. If you want something that's got a very relaxing vibe to it, I feel like you'll find that with Greak Memories of Azur, and for $3.99, it's the perfect price point to pay. The full $20 price point, yeah, no buys on that, but $3.99, I do think that's a great buy. Speaking of $3.99, AI, the SOMNIUM files at $3.99 is a stellar deal. This is quite possibly the best deal in this entire spring sale. I absolutely love this game, and AI, the SOMNIUM files a little bit in the news news cycle right now because Kaname Date, the main character of the first game, is coming back for his own game. No sleep for Kaname Date. Looks like that'll be a smaller scale game as we wait for the third main game. But yeah, everybody loves Kaname. Just bring back Kaname as the main character. I get it from narrative standpoints, it might pose some issues, but whenever you have a narrative-driven game like this and people gravitate towards the character as hard as they did with Kaname, just keep them as the lead protagonist, but, you know, they'll do what they want. And I thought Nirvana Initiative was an okay game. I didn't hate it. Some people really were down on it. I still thought it was a really solid game, but definitely the first one, it was worthwhile to go through. And excited for No Sleep for Kaname Date, but $3.99 on this is great. Mystery game, really well done visual novel, and if you're new to the genre, I think this is a pretty good one to start with. So yeah, great price on that. Strayed Lights, $3.89 on this, plus subscribers will get it for $3.24. I totally forgot about this game, and I played this game right when it came out, and I ended up having a pretty good time with it. It is super simple. You can view it as a Souls-like, but its whole shtick is that it's a very easy Souls-like. Maybe easy is the wrong word to say because it'll pose a tiny bit of challenge. It has this color coordinating gimmick to it where you have to match the color output, and it's pretty well done in that regard. Love like the aesthetics and the ambiance. The ambiance of the game was great. Another game that's fairly relaxing, and I wouldn't say that typically goes hand in hand with a roguelike, but with Strayed Lights, it definitely did. $3.89, perfect price point to pay. The full price was a little bit much, but at this price, I think it's really good. Rogue Legacy, $3.39, a classic, procedurally generated castle. Every run is different. Your character dies, but your lineage gets stronger and stronger. It's a classic that a lot of people gravitate towards. Not really my cup of tea, but again, a lot of people really do enjoy Rogue Legacy, and if you buy it, you can dig up your PS3 and play it on there. You could dig up your PS Vita, play it on there, and obviously it'll be available on your PS4 and 5. Lastly, Mato Anomalies, 75% off for $3.74. I did a video on this game when it came out. We were sponsored by them, and I ended up not being blown away by this game. It is not a absolutely phenomenal game by any stretch of the imagination, but if you're into SMT and that style of game, I think you're gonna end up having a pretty decent time with it as long as you go into it with your expectations in check. It is very much a lower budget JRPG, but I thought the soundtrack was pretty good, the character designs were great, and fundamentally, it was a serviceable JRPG, all things considered. I think for $3.74, it's the perfect pickup. The initial, whatever it was, $40, $50, way too much, but $3.74, you know, we're cooking a little bit as far as the price point goes. And I would say check it out. If you're a fan of JRPG and the mechanics of them, dungeon crawling, you'll end up having a pretty good time with this, I think. And for that price point, definitely a decent pickup there. But that'll do it for me. Again, we're gonna fight back on these $80, $90 price points, and we're gonna get you guys some games super cheap. I mean, I've been always doing this, and you know, it's kind of cool, everybody being like, I watch your channel for this very reason, not to pay 70 bucks on games. And you know, there's a time and a place. Sometimes $70 is worth it for a video game if you get whatever many hours out of it, and I don't even think that's a fair quantification of whether or not a game is worth it based on how many hours. It's a factor, certainly it's a factor, but there are games that you can buy for $5 that you can get 100 hours of gameplay of. Guess what? There are games that you could download for free and get 100 hours of. Final Fantasy 14 is free, and how many hours can you get out of that? At least a lot of the initial content, and when I say initial content, like a sizable amount of it, but you know, it's something to look at. Y'all can gravitate towards the cheaper games. I'm always going to cover them, and we've got a lot of coverage, as we always do with these videos. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.